Is anybody here naked? No? Okay. So you all remembered to put your clothes on this morning. That's good. That's a good start. So let me have a look at you. What are you wearing? Oh, yellow. I like that. So let me ask you, what made you decide to wear whatever it is you're wearing today? Can you remember? Maybe it was the first thing that you found on your bedroom floor that passed the sniff test. Maybe it's what you always wear, and today is no exception. Or did something else determine your choice? I've always been fascinated by the clothes people wear, or they don't wear. Clothes are one of the things that unite us all as humans. My clothes mark the boundary of where I end and the rest of the world begins. Unlike the way my face looks or my body shape, I get to choose and change the clothes I wear day by day. They are a unique expression of my me-ness, or at least they can be, if I allow it. I've always loved clothes. When I was a teenager, I developed quite an eclectic, you might even say eccentric, style sense. I really thought I was rocking a good look in my leopard skin trousers with my dad's suit jacket, which was so huge on me it came down below my knees. Another favourite was red satin trousers, which I wore with my then boyfriend's naval jumper, complete with epaulettes and naval badges. I earned myself the dubious honour of being named scruffiest girl in the school by an irate deputy headmistress who took exception to my satin shoes and my somewhat individual take on the school uniform. Over the years, my taste in clothes has expanded and grown, along with my wardrobe. My entire house is now full of clothes of every colour and style. Clothes bring me joy. Getting dressed in the morning reminds me of the fun I had as a child with my dressing up box. Now I'm an adult, I find myself thinking, what do I feel like wearing today? And I've noticed some interesting patterns to my choices. On the days when I feel a bit weepy or unsure of myself, or I lack confidence, I might choose to wear red or orange. If the weather is particularly grey or the news is bad, I might wear yellow or turquoise. Some days I wear 3 skirts, one on top of another, just for the fun of it. It occurs to me that I dress mindfully. What I mean by that is I think about how I'm feeling and how I'd like to feel, and I choose my clothes to support me. Last year was a really tough one for me. I began blogging about the clothes I was wearing and the challenges I was facing, wondering if one had any bearing on the other. All of this led me to start asking questions. I asked myself, why do women come up to me on the street on a regular basis and say they wouldn't be brave enough to wear what I wear? Well, what is it that they're afraid of? Why does a friend of mine compulsively buy red shoes? Her whole wardrobe is full of red shoes, and yet she only ever wears black boots. What's stopping her from wearing the red shoes? And why do I see so many clothes clones with an infinite combination of styles and colours? Why do so many people restrict themselves to the same basic clothes choices? My ponderings led me to a surprising conclusion. It seems to me that we live in an age of fashion fascism. It restricts our choices and fills us with fear. We think that we are free to wear whatever we want to wear, but in reality, that freedom is a myth. All but the most determined of us are bound by a strict set of rules. These rules are covert, insidious, and hugely restrictive. I wonder how many of you have complied with some of these. Wear black, as it's a slimming colour. Don't wear short skirts if you don't have the legs for it. But don't wear long skirts if you're short. Don't have your hair long over the age of 30. Wear vertical stripes, not horizontal stripes, if you don't want to look fat. Don't wear jeans for comfort if you're a guy of a certain age. Avoid the comb-over at all costs. Dress for your body shape. And so it goes on. Many of these rules are completely spurious, with no real logic behind them. And, in case you hadn't noticed, the rules change all the time. How are we supposed to know, for example, that brown is the new black, that florals are so last season, or that polka dots are bang on trend? Where is it decreed that men who wear sandals shouldn't wear socks, and that you shouldn't wear a bikini if you don't have a beach body? Why do teenagers who don't wear the right brand of jeans or trainers get looked down on and laughed at by their friends? And why do I think it's okay to look down on someone with a big backside wearing tracksuit bottoms? I can still remember the joy I felt at finally throwing off my school uniform. I cut my tie up into little pieces and I burnt it. Little did I know, I was simply exchanging one tedious dress code for a whole myriad of others. The punishments for breaking the fashion fascist rules can be really harsh. Shame, derision, humiliation, bullying. You only have to look at the way celebrities get torn apart by the press when they get it wrong. If you Google celebrity fashion faux pas, it throws up nearly 12 million hits. Beautiful women accidentally showing their knickers, or revealing less than perfectly pedicured toes, or, horror of horrors, unshaved armpits. Men don't seem to be vilified in quite the same way, but nevertheless, there is plenty of criticism for those who show a high street label on the sleeve of their jacket, or who are deemed too old to wear jeans, or who have the audacity to wear something deeply unconventional, like a sarong. It is this fear of falling foul of the fashion fascists that causes most of us to play it safe. We dare not risk getting it wrong for fear of being laughed at or judged. We so desperately want to earn the approval of others that, in effect, we wear a uniform for the whole of our lives. Now I understand why my friend won't wear the red shoes. There is no fun in clothes, no freedom, no individuality. We weren't always like this. You only have to look at the way toddlers and young children are when they first start to dress themselves to see just how much freedom of self-expression they have and how much joy. This is Finn. He is wearing his favourite Batman top with pink pyjama bottoms and Wellington boots. Don't you love the pose? He looks like a chap who is completely at ease with himself. And this is me, preparing to go shopping with my mum. A white tutu and blue knickers. It's always a good look. Kids think nothing of wearing their pyjamas to school, their knickers on their head, a pair of fairy wings over their waterproofs. Anything goes. They are joyful, unself-conscious, and free. Sadly, in the same way that we become inhibited about singing and dancing and painting, most of us lose the joy of clothes as we grow. I'm pleased to say this is one particular social pressure that I managed to resist quite successfully. Don't get me wrong, I did my fair share of angsting about my appearance as I grew up, but there were, I think, a couple of factors that stopped me from really falling prey to fashion fascism. One of them, in truth, was having such a mad amount of hair, which meant that no matter how much I might want to blend in and look like everybody else, I couldn't do it. I can remember a famous occasion when I worked in PR. We'd organised a photo shoot for a local bus company, and we needed some extra passengers on the bus. I volunteered. But the trouble was, everywhere I sat on the bus, all you could see was just this mad hair. In the end, I got told to get off the bus because I didn't look normal. I never did get back on that bus. The other factor that stops me falling prey to fashion fascism is my rather bolshy attitude, which goes something like this. Unless you are an airline steward and the plane is actually on fire, don't tell me what to do. It makes it quite hard for me to follow rules. So why does any of this matter? It's only clothes, after all. No one dies. Well, actually, that's where you're wrong. Emily Olsen died in 2014 at the age of 13 after being ridiculed for wearing cowboy boots and camouflage clothing to school. She was branded as gay. She put a loaded gun to her head and pulled the trigger. Nicola Ann Raphael took an overdose at the age of 15 after she was bullied for being a goth. She's beautiful, isn't she? It matters because suicide is now the third most common cause of death for young people aged from 10 to 24. There is even a new word, cyberbullicide, to describe the growing number of suicides linked to cyberbullying. We are breeding a generation of young people who are more uncertain of themselves than ever before, and we are providing them with more and more ways to bully and be bullied. It matters because 90% of British women say they are unhappy with the way they look. That's in spite of the fact that over the course of their lifetime, they will typically spend more than £500,000 on clothes. It matters because men don't know how they're supposed to look anymore. They are ridiculed for being too boring, ridiculed for being too smart, ridiculed for being too scruffy, and ridiculed for trying to do something different. It matters because old people are living beige lives, absent from our TV screens and invisible to the rest of society. Most of all, it matters because our attitudes to the way people dress are symptomatic of our attitudes in general. If we are sneering at the woman with the fat legs in the short skirt, or the teenage girl who doesn't have the right brand of trainers, the chances are we are pretty judgmental in other areas of our lives too. There is something bigger at stake here than simply our freedom to wear what we want to wear. If we believe that prejudice is a bad thing, and I imagine that most of us do, why is it okay to look down on people based on what they wear? We are blind to it. We do not see what is going on in front of us. We do not even really think about it. And I think it's worth thinking about it because it's symptomatic of what we are as a society and who we are as individuals. So what can any of us do about it? One of the best things we can do about it is to be the change we want to see. Become a role model for self-expression. Refuse to follow the rules. Become leaders, not followers. Take a leaf out of our children's books. We cannot afford to wait for the fashion industry on this, because while there is undoubtedly some positive forward motion, such as the recent signing of transgender model Harry Neff, or the popularity of Drop the Plus, which campaigned to avoid categorizing models over size 4 as plus size, it's slow, and it doesn't get to the heart of the issue. We need to show that we are the ones with the appetite for change. If we stop following the rules, the fashion industry and the media will have to stop making them, won't they? But that's only half the story. We need to stop behaving like fashion fascists and become advocates for freedom fashion. If you are afraid of being judged, stop judging others. If you want to be free to wear whatever you want to wear, grant others that same freedom. It is not the media who are the fashion police. It is us. We reinforce the rules by complying with them and expecting others to do the same. If you abhor fascism, don't unwittingly behave like a fascist. As women, we can do a lot to support and empower other women by seeing their beauty and respecting their style choices, whether we like them or not. We can do men the same courtesy. As tempting as it may be, don't criticize them mercilessly for their scruffy jeans and baggy t-shirts. Adolescents and teenagers, you can take responsibility for supporting and caring for one another and reminding yourselves whenever you feel uncertain or you lack confidence or you worry about what other people think, that your peers feel exactly the same way. Is it really that cool to be cool? Wouldn't it be more wonderful to be warm and welcoming and inclusive? Guys, you can support and encourage the women in your life to see their beauty by offering honest words of encouragement as often as you can. Live and let live. Wear and let wear. Forget about dressing to impress. Dress to express yourself. Dress to have fun. Make a stand for freedom of self-expression, and let's watch the ripples of this spread outwards into society as a whole. Now, wouldn't that be a change worth making?